On the 2nd of September 2013, Total War Rome 2 was released to some, let's say, interesting responses. Laced with bugs and game-breaking glitches, it didn't exactly make the best first impression. But it had a lot to live up to though. Rome 1 being the first Total War I personally ever played, and still for me and many others the best it's been. Because of this though, CA had to work very hard fixing their game. They created something in the end quite special, and Total War Rome 2 has become a very well loved game in the franchise because of this. So, if both the first and second games set in Rome have been so successful and well loved, surely CA I think could have expanded upon this sometime in the near future. Unfortunately, I feel this is not the case. Of course, nothing here I say is confirmed by CA, but this is just my speculations and thoughts backed up with my research and dialogue put out by Creative Assembly themselves. Starting off, we already know Creative Assembly's standpoint on third iterations in the Total War game. CA stated in an interview quite some time ago that it wasn't in their best interests and not something that they really wanted to do. A member of the team mentioned how after 2 iterations, they were able to cover most, if not everything that they wanted to do on the most part with that time era. This meant that there wouldn't be enough content and new changes to warrant a third game of that period, such as Medieval 3 or, in this case, Rome 3. Now you might think straight away, right, video over, okay, thanks Dick for wasting my time, bye. But wait, there's more. The statement put out a good number of years ago, but what have we had since? Confirmed 3 Warhammer Total Wars, yep, and mentions of 3 more historical Total Wars in production as we speak. Surely there's going to be some overlaps. This is not a be-all end-all statement from CA. Of course, we had to take into account the fact that the Warhammer license has a set contract, so Games Workshop and Creative Assembly will have come to the agreement of 3 games before even starting production in the first place. But here is where I feel like we may get a third iteration in other Total War periods, but unfortunately not Rome. Shogun Total War kicked off everything. It was the start of something new, a new franchise that put the first foot in the RTS door for the Total War series, soon becoming the biggest RTS series still going to date. Of course, we got Shogun 2 Total War and the Fall of the Samurai and everything that came with that, and my, was it successful. But this is why I feel like there's a possibility of Shogun 3. There's still a lot more to explore in this time era. The history of Japan is so vast and deep. Additionally, Medieval 3 is also a possibility in the future. I mean, I think it's safe to say that there's a tiny bit of demand for it as well. It's possibly the most demanded Total War, and I think it still will be until CA finally give in the end. Or at least give us something rather similar. Hence why I think getting something within the realms of Medieval 3 is not impossible from Creative Assembly. But this brings me on to why I think the same can't be said about Rome 3. With Rome 1 and 2 they seem to cover much of the same period, not only with the main game but also the Barbarian expansion for 1 and of course Alexander, and furthermore Attila that came after Rome 2, which is more of a standalone game but at the same time, I'll let you into a bit of secret, it's a bit of an expansion for Rome 2, but CA somehow managed to get away with calling it a full price game. But hey ho. So what more can they actually cover in Rome? Most of it has been done already, especially since both the Rome Total War games cover such a vast expanse of land, with so many different cultures, each bringing their own playstyles and troops into the game. It wasn't all based solely around Rome itself, so what else could they go into? Of course, there's the argument that the Babylonian Empire could be discovered in more Egypt and Africa later in the period. Furthermore, as it's Egypt, there's a lot of past to go into as well at the height of their reign, before any of the settings of Rome 1 and 2. Even going more into ancient Greece, the Persian Empire, or combining the two and looking at the Greco-Persian Wars I think could be really interesting. But I know this is probably not enough to make a full game on. But saying that, now Creative Assembly have started their Total War Sagas series, first with Thrones of Britannia, who knows what's coming next, but this is where they take a small snippet from time and base a game around it. This could be possible, but hey, it's very unlikely that any of these will be the Rome 3 that many people want. Of course though, many of these things are based on my theory of the past and what we've had from Total War games so far, and of course how they are structured and the roadmap we can guess. But the next point is very much to do with the present and how Total War has been working these days, and it takes 3 letters. DLC. As CA normally do, the later months after the release of Rome 2, it was full of DLC, with things such as Caesar and Gaul, Blood and Gore, and of course all those culture packs, even some years afterwards. But unlike other Total War games, it's not stopped. Rome 2 was released in 2013, that's 5 years ago, and we're still getting DLCs right now. And I think the newest DLC was only announced the other week as recording this video, which is a bit insane. and that's something we have never seen with a Total War before. Normally it's a matter of release, a few DLC, and then move on to the next game. But it seems like Rome 2 isn't being discarded anytime soon. Is this to do with trying to make up for the botched launch? Surely not. Emperor Edition solved most of those issues, so why are they still coming? Well, my prediction is that CA don't want to leave Rome 2, as they want it to last as long as possible, therefore discarding the need for a Rome 3. Furthermore, keeping players coming back to an old Total War game with smaller DLCs and add-ons here and there ties the fans over until the next big game in the series is released, or in this case, 3 Kingdoms. Personally, I don't think it's likely at all that CA would still be releasing DLCs for a 5-year-old game if they had any plans whatsoever in the future of refreshing that period, for example with Rome 3. As a developer, you want to kind of get the players hyped for a new game, you want it to be all fresh again, so you want them to not experience that time period for some years, so finally when it's announced people are excited to go back into it. But releasing these DLCs 5 years later keeps the old Rome 2 game still chugging along, it's still fresh in people's memories because people keep going back to it because of these DLCs. So therefore releasing Rome 3 would not really be much of a big deal since we've been getting Rome content for over 5 years. In conclusion, this is the main reason that I feel like we would never get a Total War Rome 3. But do you agree with my theory, or do you think there might be a chance of revisiting this incredible moment in our history? Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you had the time, feel free to just, pop a like on the video, it helps more than anything. Or if you didn't like the video, then, you can dislike it if you want, but that'll make me very, very sad. But until then guys, I will see you in the next one.